Welcome back, guys. So on this one, I'm actually going to show you how to cut a tire off of a bead once the sidewall and everything has split. This happens when someone drives on a flat tire for too long and it just starts to rip the sidewall apart, especially on softer sidewall tires like the Kendas. But, this will show you how to cut this away. I'll actually be using a reciprocating saw, or what most people will call a sawzall. But I'm going to make relief cuts here. I got the two little lines there, and you want to be careful. You don't want to get too close to the actual rim itself. You can take a chunk out of it, and you don't want to do that. But once I get the relief cuts done and I see that the rubber's coming apart, I'm going to do like a quarter moon kind of cut and try to get as close to the lip as I can without actually touching it. So just be really careful. Just take your time. The nice thing is about reciprocating saws, it's not going to jump too much on you, especially if you're just cutting through the rubber. It kind of just cuts right through it. Now, once you get to this part, you do want to have anti-cut gloves or something cut resistant and some kind of face shield just for protection. The rubber gets hot, the blades can really, they'll come at you if you're not careful to catch. And, I'm just using an angle grinder to do the rest of the cutting here. I'm going straight up the middle here, being really careful not to let it get caught. If you notice, I'm bracing my right hand against the rim itself so that it doesn't jump forward into that lip. This is just kind of like a relief cut as well. And then I'm actually going to go up underneath of it and just kind of make almost like a T-shape cut. And once we get through the video a little bit, you'll get to see this because I am going to, flip the wheel over and mount it on the machine. You just want to be really careful. I'm using just a basic cutting wheel, something cheap I got from Harbor Freight. It fits that angle grinder that I have. And I'm just kind of cutting the rubber away. And if you notice, I'm making a little bit of a gap there between the rubber and the actual lip of the rim, just to give myself some space. Obviously it gets really smoky, so I would recommend having a fan going or something just to kind of blow the smoke away from you. Obviously just be slow, check your work. You'll notice I'm starting to be able to pull it away from the lip here. And here, I'm actually going to dismount from the machine and then flip it over. I'm using the rags on the inside because I don't want my machine to bite the inside barrel of this wheel. I'm just trying to do my best not to make any damage if possible, which, sometimes happen. But you can see the little cuts I made earlier, and then I'm just going to kind of finish that off, kind of like another quarter moon shape here. Now that I'm able to see this side of the wheel, kind of where the bead is actually at on it. Now, the rubber itself, it gets really hot, it gets kind of gooey, it gets really sticky. And if you're not careful, this can catch and kind of pull you. So you want to just use really light pressure and let the blade itself do the cutting. You don't really want to put any force behind it because you are just cutting through rubber. And when you're going straight on, like I did just now, you want to be really careful not to let it jump toward the wheel because it will cut it. But you'll notice the reason why I'm doing this in small sections is it allows me to remove bits of rubber and I can actually see what I'm working with. I'm not fighting with a loose piece. And we're starting to uncover the actual bead here. Now, when you start cutting like this, I kind of cut at an angle, mostly so it doesn't dig in or catch too hard, because you'll notice it does jump. The sparks themselves are not from the wheel. That is actually the metal wires that have been molded into that rubber. That's actually what holds the tire onto your rim, is because that metal puts tension on the rubber and actually slips over what they call a bead. But to get this to loosen up, you have to cut through those metal wires that have been molded into the rubber. And you'll notice I'm trying my best not to get too close to the actual rim itself. You want to be really careful. I zoomed in here just so you can kind of see what I'm doing. I wish I had a better angle, but this was the best I could do. And you'll notice as I get closer to the wheel itself, I'll start angling the angle grinder kind of back toward me and almost cutting away from the wheel. I don't want it to grab and jump and hit the barrel. I'm actually trying to cut right along that lip there without gouging it. And like I said, just be careful and check your work. You don't have to rush this. And as it's cutting, you know, you'll get more sparks, things like that. And you'll notice the angle there I try my best to kind of bring it away from the wheel once I get closer. And eventually you'll feel yourself go through those wires a little bit. And then here I'm making another cut, just kind of like a relief cut. I did go a little too deep here, but sometimes it does happen. You don't want to put a lot of pressure behind it. But you'll notice because of those two relief cuts there I made, it gave me enough wiggle room for that to come apart and actually come off of the bead. And now I'm just going to use my hand and literally just give it a good tug, and it literally just pulls apart. But you can see that little spot there that I kind of nicked with the angle grinder. Unfortunately, that is just part of it sometimes. But it doesn't hurt anything. It's not part of the bead or nothing. And it's something that's never seen. And then once you get all that done, you're able to mount the tire just like you would normally. So, you know, I clamp from the outside of the wheel so I don't bite the inside of the barrel. And we are putting on some of these Kenda KR20As. They're really nice tires. We use them for drifting, things like that. But there you go. That's all it takes.